Our board chair, J.D. Elliott, wasn't sure if he could make it today, but it's good to see him. And we welcome you back, J.D. I know you've been out of pocket. Since our last meeting in March, we have had very active months for the Sports Authority, so we have several very important and informative updates today that we look forward to hearing about. First on our agenda is a request to approve the minutes from the March 18th board meeting. In your board packet, yes.
Just as a reminder, the notice of appeals is located on the top of the agenda and also on our website in case anyone has taken advantage of that.
Thank you, Toby. In our board packet, you'll find a draft of the March 18th minutes. Everyone should have had an opportunity to review those. If there are any questions.
Move approval. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor to approve the March 18th meeting minutes? Aye. Motion carries. Next up, we have our Executive Director's Report. Mr. Compton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We'll run through this fairly quickly. I did send out some information to you to kind of go over the items for our meeting. As always, we'll go through the packet review. We haven't met since March, but we've been very active. The April meeting, obviously, we had planned early in the year to forego that because we had the ballpark opening and events around that. In May, we just simply, we didn't have enough items in the agenda to move forward, so it was appropriate here in June to make sure we get all of our updates on the table and whatnot. In your packet today, obviously, you've already approved the minutes, which were in tab 1. Tab 2 is a memo from Metro HR that we'll discuss in a moment or two concerning the Metro budget and an across-the-board pay increase that we need to approve that was not already approved in the FY16 budget that the board voted on in March. Following that is the Predators reports. They have 2 included in this month's packet. After that, we have the Titans periodic report and their presentation for today. Just to comment on a few things, it has been a very, very busy period. Obviously, the baseball opening was the kind of the pinnacle of everything, and we were so appreciative for them including us and doing so many things, not only for the Sports Authority but for the city. And boy, that's been an exciting place over the last few months. And I know Doug Scopel will have some comments on that. And to that end, I'll mention we anticipate the punch list being completed in the next few weeks. And so Ron Gobble and Rich Reebing will come back and kind of have a final construction update report and a final financial report at either the July or the August meeting. Whenever we kind of get things buttoned up, they'll kind of come back and make sure we wrap up that project from that standpoint. The Predators, they're always doing things and have been kind and have obviously unveiled the All-Star logo. They'll comment more on that. But since we last met, the season ended, the CMT awards have happened. There's been just so many events there. And obviously with the Titans at LP Field, there's been a number of activities. Things I've gotten to participate in were the draft party and the 5K event that they had, which was really well attended. And they also were very good. You know, Mayor Dean has had his Walk 100 Miles event, and we had the final kind of culmination of those events where we actually walked from the courthouse over the bridge and through the stadium, and they were fantastic to open the stadium up and kind of make it a special event for the hundreds of participants in downtown who went and did that. That was really kind of a fun thing. The marathon was successful. We've been really involved with that. We'll have a few comments about some of our special events, but obviously what I'm excited about is, you know, today's Rolling Stones Day. So we'll get done with this and then I'll wander off and change clothes for Keith Richards or something. So, all right.
Thank you, Toby, for your report. Next up, we have a request to approve a Metro-wide 2.5% pay increase. There is a memo in your packet from HR explaining the request, and the pay increase is already built into the fiscal year 2016 budget. Toby, can you elaborate?
So again, this board in March approved a draft budget that included a 3% cut. What we didn't know at that point was what the mayor and finance director would actually come back with, and fortunately, they came back with a 0 cut for us. In fact, we actually got a small improvement, which was funds that went towards insurance increases because we've opened First Tennessee Park and some other stormwater fees and things like that. Nothing really was an improvement to our discretionary budget. When the mayor unveiled his plan, he included for all departments a 2.5% across the board pay increase for Metro employees. So that was not included in the materials that were submitted to you in March. So it's appropriate, along with the memo from Veronica Frazier, who's the head of HR, it's appropriate for the board to approve that just so everything's above board and taken care of. But this does apply to all Metro employees, 2.5%, and it takes effect. Of course, the council approved the budget last night. This takes effect July 1st.
Any questions? Margaret?
I move approval.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. The next agenda item is the Nashville Downtown Partnership Parking Agreement Amendment. It's my understanding there's still some revisions on this amendment. Is that correct, Toby?
Yes, it's a few comments on this. We had anticipated a very small modification to the agreement between the Metro Sports Authority and the Nashville Downtown Partnership that would basically allow the parking that exists there today. It ends at 6 o'clock. It basically would extend that to 8 o'clock. This comes at the request of the companies who use the service because they're kind of adjusting their shifts. We have no problem with that. That's a very straightforward change. However, as we've kind of gotten into some additional discussions, it's to no surprise to anyone, and Monica knows this firsthand because she's such a leader on this. We have so many activities that take place down there and so many parking conflicts that happen from time to time. We thought this might be a good time to step back, and rather than modifying the contract for one small provision, let's step back and look at this in a little larger perspective and see if there are other modifications that need to take place. So what we're asking, I think, would be the most appropriate thing to do is to defer this today, and we'll address this in the next couple months and bring something back to the board that may be a little more larger in scope and maybe address not only the Nashville Downtown Partnership pieces, but also the pieces maybe around Lot R and maybe addressing some of the other parking needs for downtown folks, not only during the day, but maybe even perhaps at night.
Thank you, Toby. And as part of the working revisions, will that help traffic flow and issues around that area? Is that part of with the time changes?
Well, yes, it will definitely improve rush hour. You know, that's part of what some of these companies are trying to do is be more thoughtful about traffic and when employees are coming and going. But what we're seeing, I mean, obviously with downtown, with just such a growth spurt and employment rates the way they are, just staggering shifts, it'll help things. You know, we're going to incorporate the Titans and bring in Bob and Walter to discuss this because obviously sometimes we all have different needs for the parking lot. But by and large, this cooperation between the Sports Authority, the Titans, and the Downtown Partnership, it goes very well, and it's very, very meaningful for a lot of our companies. You know, we use these parking lots, and we use this for economic development purposes in lots A and B specifically. So that's, you know, it's very important for the city that we get this from a public policy standpoint right. But again, we might want to kind of look at this a little more globally.
Thank you. Any questions?
I move that the matter be deferred to the July meeting.
Okay, we have a motion for deferral. Second, all in favor? Motion carries. Next up is our Bridgestone Arena Nashville Predators report. Mr. Henry, what news do you have for us today?
Well, I had a pretty good presentation of mine, and then Toby talked about changing his outfit to look like Keith Richards, and it threw me, so I don't know where to go now. Good morning. I think the last time we met, we were screaming into the playoffs. We were pretty excited as a franchise where we were going. We're in the middle of enjoying the best regular season we've ever enjoyed. Not so much points-wise, because I think we finished the third most points we ever had, but from a mind share standpoint, it was the most successful season we've ever had from an attendance standpoint, revenue standpoint. I think we had 30 regular season sellouts, 3 sellouts in the playoffs. It was just incredible. And the nicest part for the franchise, for the team, for the employees, for our fans, was we started hot and we continued straight through. Going into the season, I think we were picked 26th, 27th, 28th the preseason rankings, and I think at the time, last September, I said, don't listen to them. We don't care about those. Well, fast forward to today, ESPN just picked us in the top 5 contenders for the Cup, and I got to say, you got to really believe those preseason rankings now. But it's amazing what some success will do for you. And, we didn't have the season we wanted. It's easy to brag about the regular season. The playoffs, that first round, it was the most exciting round in the entire playoffs. It was the second most viewed Stanley Cup playoffs in history. But it didn't end the way we wanted it to. And, we can sit here and say we didn't have puck luck, whatever it may have been. In the end, we played that team better than anyone else played it, and we ended up losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champions. What's nice is the entire core of our team, for the most part, is back. There's some pieces we need to solidify, but there's no reason that we don't replicate last year's regular season, if not improve upon it. There were points in the year where we were the best team in the NHL. Most of the season, we were 2 or 3 points in and out of that top position, and it's going to be nice to see us repeat that. And again, start training camp. Go to our Pred Fest and Skate of the Union, start our rookie camp, our prospect camp, our preseason camp, going into it with the same enthusiasm that we ended the season with. So it was absolutely tremendous. I mean, it really was. You have the reports in front of you. I don't want to skip over them by any stretch of the imagination, but news is good. It couldn't be better. And I say that, I know some of you make fun of me behind my back. Some of you, fortunately, do it to my face about how optimistic we always are. But it's easy to be optimistic when every month is better than the prior year. Every year is better than the prior year. And when we're sitting here right now again, 2 years ago was a record year that we never thought we'd be able to hit again. We blew it away last year. And of course, we said, oh my gosh, how are we going to match last year? Well, you look at our numbers right now, and bottom line is 11% ahead of last year and 22% of a very aggressive budget. So, things are good. Our revenue for the year through April already surpassed last year's revenue. Attendance is just blossoming. Again, it's a record year on every single front. And as much as I like being optimistic, you hate to say, look where we're ranking right now, because then, next year, what if we don't finish in the top 2 or 3 busiest buildings in the country? What if we don't finish as venue of the year, if you will? Was it a failure? Well, no. The real key is continue to build upon our success. Our goal has always been to be in one of the top 10 busiest venues in the country, because once you're in there, it's a little bit easier to stay into that flow. Right now, I think we're pacing as the 2nd busiest venue in the country, 7th in the world. So it's real nice. And when you look at, and that's for the calendar year, starting in January, where you look at what we have booked next year, there's no reason that we don't finish again in that top single digits. And ideally, selfishly, we want to finish first. People laugh when we say that, because how can you ever finish ahead of Madison Square Garden or the United Center or Staples Center, LA, Chicago, and New York? Well, they said the same thing when we said we're going to be the number 1 venue in America. And we were this year. For the first time in 26 years, that trophy was taken out of LA and New York, and it's right here in little old Nashville. So we have something special going on. We couldn't be more excited about everything, from a team standpoint, from a venue standpoint. I don't separate those ever, which I know is confusing to a lot of people, but the better one does, the better the other does. It's just that simple. But it was a year of awards. There was no doubt. David Kells, who's sitting behind me, once again for the 3rd year in a row, is nominated as Executive of the Year. And I'm kind of doing a year-end wrap-up because it's June and it basically is over, even though the report is only through April. Jeff Kogan, sitting back there, was CEO of the Year. The building won Arena of the Year. We're a finalist for countless other awards. We won an EPA award for the most environment-friendly building in the country, and what we're doing with the homeless population, recycling our food and products, which is hard to do in a 20-year-old venue or 17-year-old venue. Ford Ice, you had Danny Butler, our GM, sitting back there, far exceeded anything we thought it could do. A year ago when we were talking about it, we're only 4 months away from opening. we thought, well, hopefully we'll put this many people through the building. Hopefully we'll do this. Hopefully we can, put out $50,000 in scholarships, to kids to skate and equipment. Well, you look at those numbers, I think we doubled our attendance projections that we thought we could do. I think we're closer to $300,000 in scholarships, and really through the generosity of our players, our staff, and a few corporations. Vince Gill, it's Vinny's Rinks, going along with his Vinny's Links, putting that out there. I think we're going to be able to double that next year with some new partnerships that we have going on. So it's really fun to see new programs being launched. If you haven't been out there yet, you can get out there any weekend, and you're going to see people in and out of the park, to the rink, to the library, and just circulating through. So the mayor's vision came to fruition with that whole campus. We're fortunate enough to host Nickelodeon's Worldwide of Play just this past Monday, and we didn't know if we were going to have 50 kids out there or 2,000 kids out there, but we were closer to 2,000. It was absolutely incredible. Seth Jones, one of our star players, was out there for, initially it was going to be 15 minutes, real fast in and out. Well, he was out there, I think, 3 hours. It was 98 degrees, 98% humidity, whatever you want to say. And I turn around, and the guy's wearing a plastic bag, getting into the slime machine to get slimed. And then when he got out of it, signed about, 500 kids' autographs. So I figured now he's going to leave, right? Go home. No, he went inside the venue. We were launching our new free Get Out and Learn program, this session anyway. So we had 100 kids, learning to skate for the first time, learning to play hockey for the first time. He should be gone now. The guy's dying of heat exhaustion, covered in slime. Nope, he went out on the ice. It was just one of those incredible days. So some special things are happening. I mean, we're just very, very fortunate where we are. From a venue standpoint, all the premium areas that, or new areas that we blew out last year and developed just blossomed, from the Lexus Lounge to Barrel House to Tito's Lounge, the renovated Patron Club. Couldn't have been better. The reviews really fall, though, to the CMAs and the SEC, people that really only use the venue once a year, but such a significant event. And to quote the CEA new commissioner, he said, I don't know how we existed in this building without, these new things. So, the next 11 SEC tournaments will really blossom around these new things. We started the seat renovation. As you know, we're replacing all the seats in the lower bowl, all the metal intercals or telescopic seating, redoing all the concrete in the bowl. It'll be a brand new venue when we come back to play hockey in September. It's going really well. Renovating half of the bathrooms, facelift on most of the concession stands. Those two projects don't come out of the SIF program, just coming out of operations. Again, the venue continues to evolve and maintain. And the best thing to happen is when we give a tour of the building, or a tour manager or someone who comes to visit the building for the first time, they say, well, how old is the building? 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old? And you laugh and say, no, we're 18 years old, and they can't believe it. And that's a nice testament to, what really you guys have built. So thank you for that. Again, we're on pace for a record year from a Predator standpoint on renewals. It's the highest renewal rate we've ever had, and it's only June. Our renewals really end up taking place all the way through November, but it's the highest renewal rate we've ever had. It's the highest new sales presence we've ever had for new ticket holders coming on board and people responding. And again, it's only June, so you can imagine what's going to happen throughout the rest of the summer. So we're sitting well. It's a busy June for us because we have the awards next week. On the NHL awards, we're really excited for Pekka Rinne being up for the Vezina Trophy, which is the best goaltender in the league, and Peter Laviolette as the Jack Adams Award winner as the best coach in the league. With that said, we're pretty disappointed that we think three of our guys didn't get fair treatment. When you look at the Norris Trophy, the best defenseman in the league, you got two guys in Roman Josi and Shea Weber that should have been nominated for that. We don't understand why they weren't. And from a rookie standpoint, the Rookie of the Year, or the Calder Trophy, who should have gotten it but Philip Forsberg? Not nominated. He should have won it. He had the most consistent year, the most points, just an exciting year. The best part about it is they didn't win. So next year, they get to come back and try to reclaim that. It's just going to be a great, great year. Throughout the playoffs, we launched a program about Grow the Gold, where we talked about growing our fans, and we didn't care who we were playing, whether it was the Blues or the Blackhawks or whomever. We didn't want to cater to the visiting team's fans. We wanted to cater to our fans, fill our building up at the best possible time with fans wearing gold. Took some flack from some columnists and TV reporters in Chicago, but again, who cares? It's Chicago. It's not here. And the best part about it is we reintroduced a philosophy that we wanted to work directly with our fans. We wanted to grow our fans in direct communication and not worry about the results of what scalpers care about how we sell our tickets, because the party that was hurt by our new approach on how to sell tickets were those third parties that, again, what do we care? What they do, how they do it, and we just stopped any association with them. The best part about that was we filled the building up for every single playoff game with gold jerseys. The Blackhawks went on and played in Anaheim, and then obviously in Tampa, and whoever else they played, St. Louis or Minnesota. And you looked at those games, and there were probably 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 fans from Chicago wearing red in their buildings. When you looked at our games, which we should have been the easiest ones as our fan base goes, there was probably anywhere from 200 to 600 people in the building. So it worked. And it wasn't a matter of keeping the red out. It was a matter of bringing our fans into our building to continue to build upon. And it was a better experience, and it was just magical. So we look forward to continuing that as we go forward. And then last, I want to apologize. I might have to leave a little bit early because we're really proud of something we're launching today with the YWCA. It's a MEND initiative, and it launches today in our building at 10 o'clock. So I need to get over to that event. If you don't know what that is, it's basically the YWCA launched this new initiative called MEND. It's Men Ending Violence Against Women. And it's something that we take pretty seriously. That's why we're excited about hosting the first of these forums. We have 3 scheduled in the summer that'll all be at Bridgestone Arena. If you don't have the information, I'll send it out to you. It'll be great to see you at the next one in July or the following one in August. But ideally, this is the first 3 of what will be 15 or 20 or 25, not 100. The goal of this is to end domestic violence or violence on women, and that's why I fell in love with it, and we as an organization are so strongly behind it, is when Pat O'Shea, who's pretty inspirational, if you don't know her, from the YWCA, met with me, she said, look, the goal is pretty simple. And I was waiting for her to say, we're going to build 4 more centers to treat the victims of abuse, we're going to do this, we're going to hire counselors, we're going to do job placement programs, and we were ready. We're going to do fundraisers, we're going to write a check, let's figure out how to treat the victims. So we're not doing any of that. We're going to end domestic abuse. And it was hard not to fall in love with her because, our goal is pretty aggressive. Be the #1 venue in America, built around Stanley Cup championship team. Anything short of that, we failed. And as she said, until we end violence, we have failed. So we need to do it. And this is the first launch forward as a community. And it's really nice to see Vanderbilt's working with us, TSU's working with us. We're in the middle of it. And there are so many people stepping up to the plate, take a very strong initiative on this. And the goal is to model behavior for young boys today, that'll be our men of tomorrow, by working with middle school coaches, high school coaches, eventually professional coaches. We're going to launch the program with our prospect camp that starts in July as well. Take it on a different level. These are the young men that are 17, 18, 19-year-old players today that'll be on the NHL roster in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. We want to make sure that they hear the message, that they can carry it forward, because we need more good men modeling better behavior. So that's what we're doing. If you have any questions about that, love to answer it, figure out a way you guys can get involved. But again, that's why I may have to leave a little bit early. With that said, we always gloss over the numbers. It's so positive. Things are great. I want to make sure we're always available to answer any questions you have. I think we are. You know that when you call or send emails or this forum. But if there are things you want to dig down into, we're here, no matter what it is, how we sell sponsorships, tickets, book concerts, or the numbers themselves. We're excited about where we are. We want to make sure we continue the great relationship that we've built with all of you. And most importantly, I don't know who, it was the All-Star Ferry, drop down some pucks and T-shirts of the new All-Star logo that we have that hopefully we'll wear proudly leading into a great celebration that isn't going to start the weekend of the All-Star game. It's going to start mid-December when we open up an outdoor rink in the park across from our building and really celebrate hockey for 6-7 weeks straight. And then, of course, more importantly than that, you have your stickers that we should all be wearing on our cars. But I just want to say thanks for the relationship we built. But again, answer any questions you have about where we're going and how we got there.
Thank you, Sean. Please don't misinterpret the red that myself and the Margarets were wearing.
Oh,
it's nothing personal.
It was noticed. With you, I knew it was accidental. Margaret, though, being the biggest hockey fan in the room,
Very
it was a rough one.
patriotic.
It's a rough week to see red.
It's more like orange.
Well, I'm colorblind, so I'll take the orange.
I clearly didn't get the memo.
Yeah. Do we have any questions for Sean Henry? Margaret?
That is such a great report.
Despite Toby throwing me.
Yeah. Just such a great year. And I really appreciate you kind of taking us through the year, because sometimes, you just keep thinking ahead and you don't really realize all the predators and what your organization has done for the city. So thank you so much. I also wanted to ask you about venue space. I mean, we have a new amphitheater coming up, and there was an article in the paper today maybe about the possibility of enhancing municipal auditorium. And I'm just wondering I don't quite know what the seating capacity is for all of these different venues and how that might affect Bridgestone going forward. So can you maybe just address that?
Yeah, we have a very different philosophy than most people have in what we do and how we do it. And it was shocking a little bit when we introduced it a few years ago that we have a very simple view of entertainment in this community. That if a show is going to be booked here, and I don't care what the show is, maybe Broadway over at TPAC, or a one-off show at the Symphony Hall, or obviously the Ryman does an incredible job, concerts over at LP or Vanderbilt, when U2 played there, is our goal is to make sure every one of those shows plays to the largest capacity crowd possible. And I know other people would say, no, you want these shows to fail. You want U2 at Vanderbilt to be miserable. You want the Rolling Stones tonight not to sell out, have rain and lightning. We're just the opposite. When tonight is sold out, when U2 is sold out, when any show that's at Municipal Auditorium or the Ryman is sold out, it makes our city a better city for tourists to come to. It's just that simple. We're cheerleaders for everything that happens. Probably best evidenced by the fact that the CMA Music Festival, that for the most part is anchored at LP Field, we do all the ticketing for it. We broker a deal with CMAs. We don't make any money on it, but we knew that if we could help facilitate it and bring that ticketing program to life for the full 12 months, it's going to help. It helps our season ticket holders, but more importantly, it makes the CMA Festival better. It forges a better partnership between us and LP Field. You look at the Rolling Stones show tonight, we did a pre-sale to our season ticket holders. I know in other cities, the NFL team, the NHL or NBA team look at each other and think, would you ever do that together? It was pretty neat for us to be able to do that together to make sure that show plays to the largest crowd possible, but that'll continue. But you look at the amphitheater, if you remember early on, you heard rumors that we're going to partner on it. We're going to be 50-50 partners. We're going to do this. I'm still trying to convince people we're not partnered on it at all. The one thing we were partnered on is if it was going to happen, and don't get me wrong, with everything I just said, it'd be great if no other venue ever existed. And everyone had to play through us and we could maximize them. But as long as they're there, we want to make sure that everyone is playing to the largest crowds possible. But when that venue was launched, it's a 6,000 seat venue for the most part. I don't think there are any permanent seats. There'll be quasi-permanent seats on the lawn, maybe a third of that crowd, 2,000, and the rest will be lawn seating. And there's nothing better than sitting outside and seeing a concert. Weather cooperates. It's magical. Even when it doesn't, it's still a memory of, oh my gosh, the mudslides. But we're working with them right now too. We help them set up early on different meetings to facilitate their assimilation to the city. We help them with pre-sales to our season ticket holders. Every show they have booked, we want to make sure is as strong as possible. With that said, when we looked at the type of shows that we're going to bring to the table, and I think they're maxed at 25 shows or so, we looked at what they were going to bring, and over a 5-year period of time, one of those shows played in our building. So it shouldn't hurt. If anything, it should fill that void that was missing from a market size standpoint. A show they just announced, we looked at and said, wow, we did that show 3 years ago. How do we feel about it? Well, that tour probably wouldn't have filled our building anyway, so let's make sure it plays to 6,000 people capacity there, so the next time that artist comes out, they can grow into our building, if you will. As far as the municipal goes, big cheerleaders there. Again, David Kells and they work very closely together to see if we can move shows into there from time to time to maximize them. Conversely, they do the same with us, and we talk really all the time, and I think it'd be great if someone saw value in putting some dollars in there to help fill that next void of that indoor 6,000 seat venue, because right now we have multiple 2,000 seat venues. We have some smaller clubs, 500, 1,500. Now with the venues coming on board, we have that. Then we have our 17,000 person venues. Then you have Vanderbilt at, 30,000 or so for their stadium for shows, and LP at, Bob, do you know the answer? Yeah. 50,000 people. So all of a sudden, we're a market that can do any size show. The key is we need to come together and continue to come together as partners to make sure we maximize them. And I think this weekend, from CMA Fest to tonight's Rolling Stones show how well we work together right now. So.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, thank you guys, appreciate it, and see you in July. By then, they'll be wearing normal clothes again.
I've listened to Sticky Fingers like every day for 3 months.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next on our agenda is the First Tennessee Park update since the ballpark is open, and Doug Scopel is going to give us that presentation. We've heard very positive things.
Well, that's great. Thank you, guys. Good to see you this morning. And as Toby mentioned earlier, it's 2 months from today ago that we opened. So it's been a very fast-paced 60 days for us. Very exciting and great response, like you said, from people all across the board to the ballpark. Thank you guys for the support of it. Thanks to all of Nashville for the support of it. Toby did mention we're still kind of finalizing the punch list, getting construction completed. So it's been a challenge, but it's been a good challenge for us. And I think most of the fans that have been at the ballpark don't even realize a lot of that stuff's going on. I think the city and all the partners that are involved in the construction of it have done an outstanding job in making it a first-class venue for everyone. We don't really have a formal report in front of you. We're still finalizing exactly what will be in that moving forward with Toby, with some of the city leadership. So in the next month or two, we should have a little more of that. But I'll give you some general numbers on kind of where we're at. We've hosted 30 games so far this season, averaging just under 7,400 fans a game, which is, we have a 10,000-seat venue, but that's a 50% increase from what we did at Greer Stadium last year. That's one of the largest year-to-date attendance increases in the minors, if not the largest. Those numbers are not the easiest thing in the world to track, but obviously, people are responding to the ballpark, coming to see the fun new thing, and we're just excited to be another great venue, great place for people to spend time in Nashville, to put a bigger showcase on Nashville. The team has a winning record at home, which in our league, it's a weird stat. Only less than half the teams have winning records at home. We have one, which is great, and one more kind of feather in the cap for fans when they come out. Last time I think we met, or back in the spring, we talked about the parking and traffic and how that would be a concern for everyone. Really, that's gone off really, really well. I think all the people, Metro Police and the shuttle folks and, the Public Works and us, and just getting communication out, all working together, I think that's really, really gone well. The few complaints we've resolved pretty quickly, but we're 2 months in. We're still tweaking that as we go. That's what we said going into it. We'd never experienced how this operation would go. We think it continues to go well, and we continue to make improvements. And we're doing that the same thing in the ballpark every night. We realize it wasn't a perfect venue. It was a great venue, but we're still continuing to try to improve on that and take fan feedback and other feedback that we get and just improve the overall experience for people that are out there. Most of you, I think, were there opening night, got to experience that. We hosted, along with the mayor's office, May 2nd, an open house event for folks that hadn't been to a game or had gone to a game. That was a free event for the city. We had 5,000 or 6,000 people come out to that, which was a really cool, event for people to come out, just experience, get to see a lot of the behind-the-scenes things at the ballpark. Among that attendance, we've had 6 sellouts so far in 30 games. Just for reference point, the final 6 sellouts we had at Greer Stadium took over 6 seasons for us to do. So that's just another testament to the fan support and the support of the city. In addition to sounds games out at the ballpark, part of our what we want to do, what the city wants us to do, is use the ballpark for other events outside of baseball games. We're 2 months in. Our main focus so far has been on executing our games and kind of getting our feet under us. But we've had other big events out. The Nashville Sports Council's had an event at our ballpark. The United Way's hosted a big fundraiser event. The Chamber of Commerce was out there with the mayor as a keynote speaker, which was a good lunchtime event. We've had a couple fundraisers. The City of Hope softball game was hosted there this past week as part of CMAs. That's an event we hosted at Greer Stadium for a long time. Obviously, a large upgraded venue for them. That went well for them, so it was good to kind of get into a newer, modern facility for them and have the fans that are not Sounds fans at all, people from out of town mostly, that attend those types of games, kind of experience another new part of Nashville. One other thing we're excited about is we were picked as one of 10 ballparks this year to be featured on national TV, CBS Sports Network, June 4th. We had the Sounds game on that. 10 of 176 minor league venues this year were picked to host in a game. That went off well. The announcers were very positive, not only about the ballpark and how we treated them, but about the city of Nashville in general. Best I can tell, that was probably the first time in 22 or 23 years that a baseball game, a professional baseball game in Nashville, was on national television. So that was something we're excited to get involved with, and we hope to kind of, after that, get in the mix for more games like that and host more national AAA baseball events as we move forward. On the player side, they're excited not only to be in a new venue, but it's not just a great AAA facility for them. The amenities that they have are truly at the major league level, and I hear that from them every day, from our guys, from the visiting teams, the umpires that come in. And that was something through the design team and the city wanted to put an emphasis on making it not just to the standard, but above standard. So we feel like we've executed that well, and we're just excited. Like I said, we're hoping to expand moving forward, hosting other events. We're looking into doing some of those in the fall. I don't really have an update on that for you now. We've got a special events team that's out working on that, but we've been so darn busy working to get our first 2 months behind us, and we feel like we've done it pretty well. So we'll have a more thorough report, I think, in the future, but there's a quick update for you, and I'd be happy to take any questions if you have any.
Questions? Toby?
Just a comment. In the future, as Doug mentioned, we're going to work together to put together some sort of report, some sort of hybrid report. I mean, everyone's business model is different. It'll be something probably between the Predators and Titans and some other collection of statistics, but we want to make sure that we consistently get something in front of you. And so we're working together along with Bob Lackey, who's in the back, and Rich and others, just to make sure we put together something that's meaningful. And rather than rush that and put something just kind of halfway together, we're going to do it the right way and get it in front of you in one of the future months.
Thank you. We look forward to that. Do we have any other questions for Doug?
Well, I just
Margaret?
have a comment. Obviously, I like to talk, I guess, but our firm and our families went last night to the Memphis game, and it was such a great experience. And I was appreciative of you mentioning the police force, because we walked, our firm is in Germantown, and there were so many, sorry. There were just there were a lot of officers, and very friendly and very helpful, and it makes the experience even better. So I would just like for us to reach out to the police force and thank them for all they're doing. I think it's, in addition to what you're doing, it sounds, it's very helpful.
Yeah, it's important for us, like we said in the previous meetings leading up to this, the ballpark experience for us starts way before they even get there. It's where they park, how they get there, how safe they are. Because if they don't feel safe and comfortable and educated on how to get there, how to get out of there, we're not doing our job. So it's all of us working together. And like I said, it's been a great collective effort.
Any other questions?
And that traffic and parking plan is work. I mean, no offense to the media folks who are here, but we got overblown significantly that there was all these parking issues. We've had virtually no issues whatsoever. The handful of things that have come up have been resolved very quickly, and the free parking aspect has gone very, very well. So we're very pleased with what kind of happened with that. And it was a new area of town. A lot of people weren't familiar with getting over there, and so now that they've gotten there a few times, the repeat customers are applauding. We got a very kind emails complimenting us on what we've been able to achieve with that. We've shuffled things around, we've made adjustments, and that's all by and large gone very, very well. Doug and his team have been constantly responsive when we've reached out or said, hey, we got a complaint over here or there. They've been on top of it every time.
And remind us the timing on the state parking garage. Is that
Believe
tracking?
Completion sometime this fall, but I'm not anywhere an expert on that. It should be open for us for our next season next year.
I've heard October.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, we have our LP Field Tennessee Titans report. We have Steve Underwood, CEO of the Titans, with us, and Janine Kaufman and the rest of the team. Welcome back, Steve. It's good to see you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Kim. We're going to veer off our agenda just slightly, and Steve's going to come up. We're really excited.
Janine, can you? There we go.
Oh, push.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Is it going? Can you guys hear me?
Now we can.
I'm so loud anyway. So we're really excited to have Steve back. Many of you guys know Steve from when he was here before, but we're really looking forward to having him back. The announcement came out yesterday that he'll be with us for a lot longer, right, Steve? So we're really excited about that. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve.
Thank you, Janine, Madam Chairperson and members. I can't tell you how good it is to be back. I thought when I retired 3.5 years ago that I would probably never have another opportunity to be in front of the Metropolitan Sports Authority again, and it's something that I missed, and I missed all of you and those who used to be members of the authority. This morning, I I think our organization is far enough along in the investigative process to offer a preliminary view of what happened in our ticket office. I know it has been a concern of you and of the metropolitan government. It has certainly been a front burner item for us for the last few months. I think it's important to stress that our internal investigation is still incomplete, but we think it may be useful to offer the basic facts even before our audit is finished. We hope to complete that, by the way, by the end of this month. It's likely to be more complete and to be a full report at next month's Sports Authority meeting. I think we really need to stop and offer some thanks to Janine Kaufman for the work that she has done in connection with that. You know, when you do an internal investigation or a special audit, that's over and above your regular workload. And Janine and her group are already sort of stressed to the max before these problems arose. And so for myself, for our organization, for our ownership, I want to thank her not only for the work she's done in connection with the audit and the investigation, but also for putting herself in between what was going on in our ticket office and the rest of our organization. Let me tell you first why the investigation and audit should matter to the metropolitan government and to the Sports Authority. We collect and remit to you a user fee that is associated with our paid tickets and paid tickets to every other event in our building. It's permitted under the terms of the stadium lease, in which I was an active participant in the negotiating of those agreements that relocated us from Houston to Nashville. And it includes, of course, every paid ticket to Titans games, every other qualifying event, and since the ticket tax came into effect in the 11th year of our lease, it was originally $2, shifted to $3 in 2012. We've paid just over $11.5 million in user fees to the metropolitan government, all of which is used to pay for the upkeep, the capital expense, and the repair of our building, one of Metro's greatest public works. The tax is also used as a revenue component for Sports Authority bonds that helped pay for the improvements in the stadium, those that were done in 2012, and for other debt obligations of the Sports Authority or the metropolitan government in association with the stadium lease. And let me also tell you why the user fee matters to us, the Titans. We consider the ticket tax to be one of the most important tools that the metropolitan government has and that the Sports Authority has. We collect it from every person who uses the building. It's an appropriate tax for that reason. It's paid by the users, by the people who are in the building. And the tax is over and above other taxes that we collect, for example, for the state. Every sold ticket, we remit 9.25% of the price of the ticket to the state. We also remit 34% of the ticket price to our league. It's shared with the other member clubs of the league, whoever our opponent is that week. So the ticket tax, the user fee, whatever nomenclature you want to use, is actually the smallest component of the revenue that we share from each ticket. For that matter, most of what we get in ticket sales ends up in the pockets of our players. So while the ticket is important, the ticket tax is also important. Here's a short summary. I'm going to go into more detail, but just sort of to make a superficial statement to begin. We had problems in our ticket office that we discovered on our own using our own internal controls and procedures. After we knew enough about those irregularities to be concerned, we reported the matter to our own league, as we were obliged to do. After we knew even more, a few weeks later, We reported the matter to the Metropolitan Government's Finance Department. We have repeatedly offered assurances to the Metropolitan Government in person and in writing that we will pay any shortfall associated with ticket taxes as soon as we are completely sure we've identified what the amount is. These will be in addition to the regular amounts we pay in every month for user fees associated with tickets that we sell. That's for our events, for CMA, for the Rolling Stones, for any paid event in the venue. We also promptly made changes in our ticket office personnel. We installed new accounting and audit procedures and began a full-scale internal audit. That audit is still underway. We've offered Metro Finance general information up to now as the audit has progressed. It's still going on. We hope to complete the audit by the end of this month, make payments, as I have said before to Metro. If we're not sure whether or not we owe tax on a ticket that we can't account for, we're just going to pay the tax and go on. Whatever the number of missing tickets is, we're going to multiply that by 3 and write the government a check, just as if it were any other ticket that we sold to an event. And we're going to provide the audit results to the Metropolitan Government's Finance Department. We pay ticket taxes that we owe because it's in our own interest to do so. Just as it is in our fans' interest, our ticket buyers' interest, to say nothing of being in the interest of the Metropolitan Government, with whom we share our most profound partnership. We would not be here were it not for the Metropolitan Government and the Sports Authority. The idea that we would deliberately withhold or intentionally try to minimize the ticket tax, avoid payment of the ticket tax, that's repugnant to us. Even the suggestion of that is repugnant to us. It's more than silly, as I have already explained, and completely false. You need to understand, I want to make sure everybody's in line. If you hear that we deliberately do not pay taxes, it is a lie. That is not the truth, and it has never been the truth. That has never been the Titan way. The ticket tax was part of our original negotiations with the Metropolitan Government. It was a good idea then, and it's a good idea now. The building has to be maintained because it has to last for another 25 years. That's the remaining term of our lease. We began detecting the irregularities. This is the longer version, if you want to hear it. In our ticket office, internal reporting during the 2014 season. Because the season was still underway, a complete review was delayed till the season was completed. In January 2015, after the season was over, we intensified and broadened the investigation. It's still uncertain as to the outcome at this point, the nature and the extent of the irregularities, that is. But it was becoming evident to us by then that something was wrong in our ticket office. We reported the matter in January to our league office and continued the investigation internally. During the first half of February, the investigation had reached the point that we believed it was necessary to report the matter to the Metropolitan Government, and we did so. That was a phone call from one of our outside lawyers to the finance director, and we told him we don't know what all has gone on. We're not sure yet, but if we owe you any money, you're going to get paid. Of course, we weren't certain then, what the full extent of the scope of the problem was, but we wanted them to know that if there was any issue with the taxes, we'd take care of it. At this point, we made sort of dramatic changes in our ticket office. We fired some employees and installed new and better internal controls and procedures. We've hired a new, very capable, deeply experienced ticket manager who has a hard-earned reputation for honesty and integrity. We feel very grateful to have her. Over the next few months, we continued to audit, including the use of outside auditors. Deloitte was our outside audit partner. And in May, we offered additional assurances, including written assurances to the metropolitan government, that the audit was proceeding in an orderly fashion and that we would pay what we owed when we knew what the shortfall was. The delay, then, is hardly intentional. Rather, it's the inevitable result of looking and finding concealed wrongdoing of others who deliberately hid it from us. We can't pay what we don't know about, but as soon as we know about it, we're going to see that we pay everything that we owe. I can't say enough about what Janine has done in helping locate the issues in our ticket office and trying to address them. But know and understand these undisputed facts. It happened in our shop. We found it on our own. We reported it on our own, and we're going to correct it on our own. And we are desperately sorry that it happened, but sometimes bad things happen, and when they do, they need to be corrected, and we're going to see to that. I will await your questions and comments.
Thank you, Steve. That was very important for us to hear the status of where we are. It's positive to hear that it's moving forward, and then the next month we should have the audit.
We're sorry to have to trouble you with it, but I think it's something that we needed to do.
Absolutely. I'm sure we've got some questions or any comments.
I do. Do you have some? Go ahead.
You ladies first.
I really do appreciate you coming forward today at this point. I understand you still don't really know the full scope of what you're going to report to us, hopefully, next month.
We do not.
So probably some of these questions that I might have asked, I might wait till next month when you really have more knowledge. But how many years are we talking about where there's been, I assume, I'm going to call it an underreporting of tickets?
Janine has looked back as far as 2012 and 13. I think there are some issues in those years. We don't think there's anything from 10 or 11, but we're not positive yet. And the irregularities were not as serious in 11 and 12 as they, or 12 and 13 as they were in 2014. But we looked back really just to make sure.
I see.
All we knew about during the 14 season was 14. On our own, we've gone back and tried to reconstruct what happened in prior years.
When I looked at the news reports, it seemed to focus a lot on the comp tickets,
Yes.
the tickets that were given away instead of paid for. And I was wondering, is your investigation limited to just the compensation tickets, or is it all tickets?
All tickets. There were some things being misreported. There were irregularities in association with some of our complimentary tickets, but we're looking at everything in our ticket office. It's another one of the reasons it has taken so long.
I see.
There are thousands of individual transactions. Janine will tell you it's sort of like looking for a few needles in a very large haystack.
And the reporting that has been done to Metro with these tickets, have they been monthly? I mean, I've never seen these
Yes.
reports. I asked Toby for a couple, but I didn't look. I looked at a summary.
Yes, in fact, I think Janine's report will detail taxes that have been paid from inception to date.
Right, but what has been reported are the tickets in the past, the tickets that were paid.
Paid, yes,
Right,
correct.
okay. So there wasn't any
problem with-
reporting about comp tickets, it was just paid?
No, comp tickets are not what the statute requires, or the Metropolitan Ordinance requires, is that we pay tax on paid tickets. Comp tickets are not taxed unless they exceed the threshold, the maximum threshold for comp tickets that's set out in the ordinance. I hope you'll forgive me. I don't know whether you all call it a statute or
That's
ordinance.
fine.
But whatever it is, the law requires that we pay for comp tickets over a certain number
see.
per event. If the tickets are under that threshold, we don't owe tax on those tickets.
But the reporting has not included in the past the number of comp
No,
tickets
it has not.
per game?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe that can be addressed at another time.
Surely.
Okay. Thank you.
More than welcome.
First of all, I appreciate you coming up today and being a stand-up guy about this. And we have not certainly, you say that this was not deliberate. No, I don't think anybody has suggested it was deliberate. From our perspective, I think the concerns that we have are, number one, ensuring that all the user fees be paid, and number two, making sure that this doesn't happen again and that procedures can be put in place to allow the city to monitor, to ensure that it doesn't happen again.
Yes, and we're working with the Finance Department on a sort of joint reporting system going forward.
And I understand I know that these internal audits are time-consuming, and you
expensive.
certainly don't want to jump to any conclusions
No.
that are inaccurate, and you want it to be comprehensive. So, as I understand, you're going to come back at the next meeting in July.
Yes.
And you're going to present to us, hopefully, a report on what you found.
Correct.
Okay.
And we hope to go ahead and pay the metropolitan government for the taxes even before that meeting.
Great.
We just want to we want to ensure that it's for the correct amount.
Right. Yeah, and when you come back before us, would it be possible to get a written report in advance of the meeting so that we'll be able to know, answer three questions I have. One, do the Titans owe additional taxes? You indicate you may pay them before then. That may answer it.
The answer to that question is yes.
Okay.
We do owe additional taxes.
Which leads to my second question. If so, how much?
Yeah, we don't know that.
Okay.
But we will before the end of the month, I think.
Okay.
And once we know, we will pay that amount.
And really,
this is a tiny fraction of our tax liability on an annual basis, not only to the metropolitan government, but to the other authorities to whom we remit taxes. It's the reason I think that we're going to err in the metropolitan government's favor. Even if we can't tell whether a ticket was sold or comped, we're going to pay the tax. It's just that simple to us. The money is going to end up being used on our building, so it isn't something we're wanting to quibble about.
We appreciate that, and I guess, but the final thing is that I would like to have just perhaps just so that we can think about it in advance of the next meeting. What procedures are the Titans prepared to put in place to allow the city to monitor this to ensure that doesn't happen again?
All right.
As I understand it, you found this out, and you guys have done the right thing and have self-reported this, and we applaud you for that.
Thank you.
But if you had not self-reported it, then it may have gone, or if someone in your organization had not been able to uncover it, it might have gone undetected. And in order to ensure that it doesn't happen again, I think that we need to ensure that there are procedures in place to allow Metro to monitor it.
We couldn't agree more.
And so with that report, we get a lot of things to read, and sometimes they come at I think one of them came in at 7 o'clock last night. If we could get that
We'll
report
strive for brevity. How's that?
a little bit in advance of the meeting, so that we'll, particularly with regard to the procedures, so that we can evaluate that, because what's happened has happened, get it right, but the main thing is going forward and being able to at the next meeting, be able to consider what we can do to ensure that it doesn't happen again.
We couldn't agree more. It's a blemish on our reputation, and we are going to correct our mistakes.
Well, I think I speak for everybody on behalf of the Sports Authority. We're real excited about the direction the Titans are taking.
As are we.
We're excited about Marcus Mariota, and
yes.
we're pleased that you're going to be with us here this fall throughout the year. And as I think the morning paper reported, adding some stability. And we're excited about all the sports teams that we have and that we partner with here in Nashville. And,
we're proud to be part of that group. Thank you kindly. It's my pleasure to introduce Janine Kaufman.
Thank you, guys. We'll move on to exciting stuff, and Bob. All right, Bob.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Appreciate the time this morning. Glad to be here and present what we've been doing this past, I think I got introduced here, 10 weeks ago, maybe, March 18th, right around there. And we've been doing a lot of things over at the stadium, and I've met with a lot of y'all, and, it's been fast and furious, but it's been a lot of fun. And, we're moving forward. That's what we're doing now. We're moving forward. One of the things we did just add to our new team, Jimmy Stanton is our new Vice President of Communications. We brought him back to us. I think he was in here late 90s, early 2000s, and he's been with the University of Kentucky. He's been with University of Tennessee his last stop, and then the Astros. So we think we've got another good piece of the puzzle, and we're excited about having him on board. So we're going to go through this. I know a lot of y'all can read, and Toby, I think, stole some of my presentation already. We shouldn't send those to him. But we had the draft party, and that was huge for us because, we got Marcus Mariota in that draft party, and then, where's the next one? And the next slide will show you, the draft 3, I'm sorry about this. Draft 3, we did a thing at the Armory where the soldiers from Fort Campbell got to announce some of our picks. Our guys were there to sign autographs. It was a great day. It was really a lot of fun to be there. So, and then this is what my next one is our, we had the second pick in the draft, and we picked Marcus Mariota from Oregon. And then in the month of May, he was the #1 selling jersey of all players in the NFL. So we're excited about having him. He's doing everything right. The coaching staff is really excited about having him. We know he's a rookie, but he's very impressive, and we expect big things from him, and just really excited about having him on our team. And so we've hosted 3 or 4 movie nights at LP Field. We've done it for the kids, our kids club. We've done it for our season ticket holders. I think we did something with one of our partners. We also we've been showing with this for the movies, which I've seen it many times, logos and Paddington movie. So they've been a lot of fun. It's just a great venue, sitting out on the field. We haven't had any rain, which has always been nice. We've had a full moon one night, and just sitting out there with 1,000, 1,500 people watching the movie. It's been a great family night. So it's been a lot of fun just to have those people into the stadium.
Wrong one.
Titans Caravan, we've been doing this thing, I don't know how many years, at least 10 years I can recall. And I know we went to over 20 different cities in Tennessee. So Nashville's our home, but we try to get everywhere we can. We even go into northern Alabama, southern Kentucky, and we go through there. We usually do 3 stops a day, and we get our players on board. We have our radio partners with us, and it's just a great time. I've been on them once, I believe, and lines are out the 200, 300 people long, just hoping to get an autograph or meet some of these players. It's just a great way for us to get out in the community and touch some of these fans that don't always get to come to see us, but they'll watch us on TV, they'll listen to us on the radio. It's great touch points. Janine's going to talk about this one because I could not make this one.
This is my favorite. So during the month of May, we actually had the entire team, all of the coaching staff, and all of our players come out, and we hosted a community baby shower in conjunction with United Way. I brought a sample bag that we did. We did 1,500 of these bags that went to United Way. They went to their family resource centers and for some of our domestic violence partners as well. And I have to show you this because I think this is so cute. Don't you love that little onesie? And then we put these little stickers on all this. So this was the offensive line onesies. So way cute. They also got a nice baby blanket. They got diapers and some wipes and a nice pad. And so one of our great events, and it was really cool. And I have to tell you, as Bob was talking about Marcus was the last player to leave that event. It was unbelievable. I had the folks at United Way come up and they were like, "Do you see who's there? He's like the last guy." And I said, yes. So not only is Marcus going to be an incredible player, he is going to be great in the community, and we're really excited to have him. So I've got this here if anybody wants to come up and check it out too afterwards. It's way cute. All right, Bob.
All right.
Flip it to you.
Yoga on the field was an interesting day. This was to benefit Souls for Souls, and I think we had almost 750 people down on the field doing yoga, and we had, I think, 3 or 4 of our players there. It was quite the sight to see the field with all the yoga mats, and it was a great feeling out there, as the yoga people would say. And a lot of yogis is what I learned about that day.
Was Walter there participating? Walter?
Was Walter?
Did you didn't?
It was the largest yoga event ever held in Nashville, so very cool event.
It was neat. It was for a good cause as well. For 6 different Tuesdays in April and May, we held Titans Tuesdays at LP Field. It was for our season ticket holders, and each night we had about 500 people come to the East Club or the West Club, and we entertained them. And here's a picture of Marcus doing pictures with fans, but it was great because last year I know we had some issues with our food concessionaire. Everybody raved about how good the food was this year. I mean, they've got a year underneath their belt. They are prepared for this year, and they're doing a great job. They had a good CMAs. They're just doing a real good job. But we had 6 of these, and they really went over well. We had a coach there. I mean, Coach Wisenhunt was there. We had our general manager, Rustin, was there, Rustin Webster, just different players and stuff like that. We had alumni players and current players, and they all came there, and it was just really well received. The Titans 5K was May 30th, I think it was, right when CMAs were starting to move in. But we have got a great partnership with them, and they allowed us to, they moved their setup a little bit so we could run onto the field, and we had about 1,000 runners. We had 68 of our players there. Coach ran as well. Not all of our players ran because some of those big guys aren't meant to run that far. But they were all there. That's at the starting line, and then they all were at the finish line, or they were in the gate 1 just greeting people. I had one guy come up to me and said, "This is great." I had players that I just could come up there and just talk to. The players are great to be there, and they're actually really good guys when you get them in the right situation. They're really good to. They like Nashville. I like being part of this organization. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Toby ran. I want to say that. So kudos for that.
It was hot.
So, all right, now events at LP Field. I mean, we talked about Country Music Marathon. We host the finish line at Country Music Marathon. I forget how many people. It's 25,000 people coming in there, and they go out there and set up all over. It's a great event for Nashville. I mean, it's just really a good event for us, and we're glad to have them finish at LP Field. It's a perfect place for them. We got the parking spot, so it works out nicely. The Mayor's Walk, Toby talked about that. That was just something that Toby kind of reached out, and I just said, instead of walking around the building, why don't we do something special? And we said, let's have them come through the building. We brought out our helmet, so they were just like the players. We had cheerleaders there. We had them up on the Titan Vision, and it was kind of neat to see different ages go through there and even go back through there and get their pictures and stuff like that. They really felt like they were part of the team, and we tried to do it up just like our players are going out there. We have the Good Guys Car Show. This is, Walter, how many years is this? 6, 7 years? 8 years? 8 years. 8 years running. It's if you're a muscle car type person, it's a great show. We had about 50,000 people come through the parking lots. It's just a neat show. It brings people down here. They're eating and drinking downtown. They're doing hotels, so it's another good event for the building. But it's also a good event for the city. CMA Music Festival, this is my first one to really actually work it and all that stuff. It was 4 good nights. It's a hard 2.5 weeks, but it's a good event for us. I mean, I love it because it's a good event once again for the city. I mean, it brings so many people into Nashville, and then they come over to LP Field. They have a good time. We had great weather. I think the first time we've had no rain. Knock on such wood. Hopefully no rain tonight. We've got. I think the next slide might be about the Rolling Stones. Yeah, this is going to be really neat. I mean, it's amazing to see what these guys can do. And we got Brad Paisley kicking it off tonight. But it's just, they come in here. They've been great. But it's, so in 5 nights or in 1 week, we'll have 5 concerts, sold out concerts. So it's been busy. And I think somebody talked about traffic flow and parking and stuff like that. We're working hard about that. We've been talking to the police with Metro every other week about trying to improve our traffic flow and our parking. I'm not going to promise you it's going to be perfect, but we found some issues where we think we can improve. And I've talked to Sergeant Keeter, Lieutenant Corman, and we've finalized, and we think we've got a better plan this year, and just made it hopefully a little simpler and a little better. It's not going to be perfect, but we think it's going to be better. So we're working hard at that. But our communication at LP Field, that was one of the first things I wanted to do, was just be a better communicator, and I think it's working because we're all talking. I mean, I'm talking St. Tom, everybody working with us. We've got a better communication path. U.S. Soccer, that's going to be July 3rd, and right now we're on pace to break the record, which they had, I think, 2011 or 12. I forget. But it's the men's team. It's right before they go off to their next big tournament. And we had a call with them yesterday. They're excited about it. We're pacing to go ahead. We're hoping to get to 30, 35,000. That's where our goal is. We're pacing to go past that. So it's gonna be, it's July 3rd, right before our big July 4th holiday celebration downtown. So we think it's the perfect weekend. We've got two nights of, if you're familiar with Beach Bodies or P90X, they're coming downtown and they're going to take over downtown. They're going to do they're going to do something at the Bridgestone Arena. They're going to do something at the Music City Center. They're going to do a workout on Broadway, and they're going to do their kickoff on a Thursday night at LP Field, and a Saturday night will be the culmination of it. So it's two fairly big events. I mean, they're hoping to get 25 to 30,000 people in there.
When is this?
Where or when?
When?
July 16th and 18th. So do you want to know when the Broadway? The good time. Some people have said they will never get in that shape. So then we announced that UT is playing Bowling Green on September 5th, I believe. So we go September 3rd with the Titans, which is a Thursday night game, preseason game. Then with Friday, we're getting ready for UT on Saturday's game, and then we follow that up on Sunday with a TSU game. So in 4 days, we'll have 3 football games at LP Field. So we're excited about it. Real excited about it.
All right. On the ticket front, on Titans, we've done a couple of things. So first of all, we are tracking with 2014 as far as renewals go. So we feel like we're right on pace where we should be. We've done a couple of new things. As Steve mentioned, we've hired a new VP of ticket operations. Her name is Brooke Ellenberger, and she is fabulous. She's got a wide range of experience. She worked at the Houston Astros and also had some NFL experience working with the New Orleans Saints as well. So we're really excited about having her on board. And so she's really kind of changing things up in our ticket office. One thing that we've done is we created a group sales department, which we felt like we were really lacking. We felt like that was a great opportunity to really increase sales and take advantage of a lot of group sales in the Nashville area. We've also added a full-time service team, and you can see a picture of them there. And these are folks that are going to be there to actually service our current ticket holders. So really looking forward to that group being full-time. We made a couple of offers this week to that group and have that group established. And then we're planning to launch our mini pack sales, which will be in August. And we also got kind of a real big push when the schedule came out in April. And of course, when we drafted Marcus, that always kind of helped ticket sales. So those are tracking really well, and really excited about the season. And then I'm going to let Bob talk about some of our building.
This is another topic for me, or hot point for me. LP Field, just trying to get it up to speed, because one of the things I always heard about, it's a great building, but it's dark, it's gray, it's block wall, center block, there's not a whole lot of color to it. So right now, we're looking at everything, all the gate numbers, 1 through 10, I don't think they've been touched since the building was built. So we've painted those things, got the bright red back, so it looks a lot better. All the, tickets or West Club entrance or East Club, all those things, we're going to get those painted. They're not painted right now, but it's after we do the stones, and whenever we can get it, that's going to get painted. The bollard signs, which are the flower pots out there, we've had our logo out there for a long time. They've all faded. We're going to get those. I've heard that from a number of different people, so we're going to get those things replaced. New way signage. Way signage is just directional signage. I mean, it's tough to get around that. I mean, for our Titans season ticket holders, they know where they're going. But for the CMA folks, for the Rolling Stone folks, for all those people with U.S. Soccer, for all those people, it's going to help them in the future. We'll tell them which way the section 130 is or where the east ramp is and stuff like that. So it's going to help just get people around that building. And then I'm just trying to add some color to that building. It's just, it's dark in there. So we're gonna do some stuff to some columns, and we're just going to try to bring some life to it and maybe make some consistency as well, so people know where certain colors means it's a women's bathroom or men's bathroom. So it's something that we're trying to get done before preseason. It will either be preseason or first game of the year. But when you walk in, I want people to say, "Wow, something's new here." I also want to add something to the outside, which I just want people to walk in that building and say, they've done something during this off season. This looks great. So that's our goal, and I've got the support from the group here to make those changes. So that's what I'm really excited about. Now I just got to do it. So.
Yeah. And a couple of other changes we're doing. We are revamping the concession stands up on the club level. And Bob didn't mention this, but as the financial person, that is actually all of our expense. So all these improvements are at the Titans' expense and things that we personally are doing to enhance the building and enhance the experience. So we are going to have club level concession improvements, and then we are also looking to fix and replace and get new furniture actually in all of the suites as well. So very excited about all those enhancements. All right, and with that, I'm going to go into the financial piece, and then we'll take any questions that you guys have. This is in your handout. It looks something like this piece. It's not exciting and flashy like our PowerPoint. Just kind of reviewing our ticket tax, where we are with the ticket tax summary. We currently have $2 million in the ticket tax fund. $855 of that has been reserved for debt service. And so that leaves a balance of 1.2. As a reminder, the ticket tax is $3, but it's broken out into two different funds. That's how Metro actually tracks it, because the $2 has been committed to the bond issuance that was done back in 2012. And so that's why it's tracked in kind of two different accounts. And then if you flip through, you'll kind of see the detail of the ticket tax. The one piece I do want to draw your attention to, which is the recap of the user fee paid, and this is the by-month report. It's got January through December and all the years, and so this will actually show you what we have actually paid in to Metro for the user fee on a monthly basis. It is on page 5. Thank you, Toby.
Thank you,
Page 5. Did everybody? Sorry, I'll let y'all catch up. I'm a fast talker, even though I'm from the South. So, and by the way, the red is for actually the stones. So that was my spin on your red today. So to date, as Steve mentioned, we've put in about $11.6 million into the user fee that's been paid in. The next page, which is the Stadium Capital Fund, we currently have $210,000 in that fund, and that was after, if y'all remember at the last meeting, you voted to approve our reimbursement of $935,000. So we did receive those funds, thank you so much, at the end of March, and that brought that balance down to $210,000. And on the next page is kind of a summary of that capital fund. It will show it since inception in 2000 and rolls you through the interest income, the event revenue, Metro's contributions, and then all of the capital fund expense that's come out of that. And then the last page is kind of a recap of our unfiled reimbursement and casualty receivables. And so after that reimbursement that we received in March, our current unfiled reimbursement receivable is right at $1.1 million. And that should be the last page of that, Kim. Okay, and then the casualty receivable is at 27.6, and Walter works really closely with Metro on kind of those unfiled casualty claims and seeking reimbursement for those. So overall on the financials, doing great. Everything seems to be going well. And does anyone have any questions for really any of us on any of the cool events and awesome things we have going on at LP Field or any of the financial information?
I don't see any questions. I just want to say thank you for a very comprehensive report. It's very informative, and it's exciting to see all that the Titans are doing on the fan experience and community engagement, and look forward to an exciting year with a new quarterback.
That's right. We're
Fun.
excited too.
I look forward to a lay next time.
Yeah. We'll do that. We'll bring some Stones music the next time.
There you go. Stones in it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good luck tonight. Thank you, everyone, for participating today. I think Toby's got.
One more thing that I neglected to mention earlier in my report. Next, as everyone is aware, hopefully, there's a mayoral election coming up, and it's hard to believe that in just a few weeks we'll be actually voting. Next Thursday morning, at the end of the normal Nashville Sports Council board meeting, there will be a mayoral forum on sports. I'll be getting more information out. We're kind of a co-host to that. I'll be assisting Scott Ramsey with some of that. We have several candidates who will be there, and they will come and provide their perspective on sports and things of that nature, which I think will be fun. There's other groups co-hosting. Anyone, just kind of for the sake of the public, the board, I think it's important to kind of mention this. It will be interesting. It will be held at Bridgestone Arena at about 8:45 next Thursday. That's the 25th, and I'll get more information out, and I do think it will be an informative event if you can make it.
So it's a sports mayoral forum. It's exciting. Great. Well, hopefully we can all make it. Thanks again, everyone. Do we have a motion to adjourn? All right. Second? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.